You know what time it is. Time now for Unstoppable Performances presented by Ram Trucks. Let's dive a little deeper into the SEC championship between number 4 Georgia, number 10 Alabama, a rematch from earlier this season when Bama went to Athens and handed the Bulldogs their only loss of the season, 24-21. We all remember. Tide quarterback Ty Simpson accounted for 3 touchdowns, and they never trailed in this game. My resident dog here, but let's talk about this unbiasedly. I'm sure there's a little bias in there somewhere.
Now.
What lessons do you feel like Georgia learned in that loss to Alabama that must be applied this weekend?
First of all, I own my biases. Y'all know what it is, right? I'm not going to sit here and try to hide it, but I digress because there are some lessons learned and there are some things that have improved between this matchup that we saw in Athens a while ago into now what this Georgia Dogs team has formed into. They've gotten much better on third down, which was the bane of my existence, frankly, in the first half of the season. They were able to find a little bit of a passing game with Gunnar Stockton. Mike Bobo unlocked that offense for Gunnar, and that was understandable to sort of slow roll him out into the world of college football, this being his first full season as a starter at the helm. But I will say, last week gave me some concern regarding Georgia Tech not able to finish drives with touchdowns, settling for field goals so often. I understand that Georgia Tech was going to give them fits just because it's a rivalry game, but there are some things that need to be tightened up ahead of this matchup, specifically regarding that third down conversion rate, getting off the field in the first half, and then again, making sure that you have a passing attack that can keep pace with Ty Simpson and them if you're not going to be able to get pressure on them. I will say too, right?
Yeah.
Schematically, they were able to figure out pressures for Haynes King, got him off of his spot, and were able to disrupt a lot of their timing, specifically in the run game for Haynes. But if they are not able to create that same sort of dysfunction in the Bama offense from a pressure standpoint and just a disruption, that's where things get loose again, and you're not going to be able to play catch-up once again.
No, I like that. And on that point of applying pressure, I look at last week's Iron Bowl with Alabama and Auburn. Auburn did apply the pressure, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Ty Simpson, lowest completion percentage as a starter this season.
That's what
There you go.
Guess what we talked about too, going into rivalry weekend, right? Things could get weird in Jordan Hare if they got after the quarterback, and that's exactly what the Auburn Tigers do, if nothing else.
Yeah, but I'm with you too defensively. Like, you got to get off the field on third down if you're Georgia, and you have to play 4 quarters of defense. Like, not just 2, not just in the second half, but like, let's play the entire game.
Clean it up.
Shall we? Yeah, let's clean it up. Also, RTDB, run the damn ball if you're Georgia.
Always.
That's a positive lesson learned. They did that really well in the loss earlier this season.
So good.
You got to continue doing that. Okay, as a former player, do you think in the locker room for the Dogs that they are discussing not just the last loss to Alabama, but what it has been under Kirby Smart? They're 1-7 against the Tide.
Oh, there's no doubt an intangible element to this that makes you want to make sure you tighten up against this Tide team specifically. But I just think it is so much more than just some sort of amorphous motivational factor that's going to play into this one. The first question you asked, the lessons that you learned are going to play so much more of a paramount role in this matchup than anything. Have you improved as a roster? Have you tightened up the things that were not so great early on in the season more than anything? Yes, sure. Kirby's the best at getting folks ready to run through a wall for him, but I'm not going to sit here and act like being able to get up for a game like this is going to determine the factor against the roster in Alabama that is as talented as they are. Like, that little motivation ain't going to do but so much. You have to be tight in your execution, right? And even as a former player, you got up, but you knew at the end of the day, between them white lines, I better be on it up here more than anything.
I don't think you even need to think about it. If you go to Georgia, you want to play Alabama and you want to beat Alabama. That's instinctual at this point. It's in your blood if you're the Georgia Bulldogs. Okay, moving on for the scenario of this one in terms of the college football playoff. If Georgia wins, no doubt, they're all the way in. They're going to lock up one of those top 4 spots. They'll stay right where they are, maybe even move up a little. We'll see what happens around the rest of the country. As for Alabama, though, if they do lose to the Dogs, there's potential, and we've talked about it, that they could get left out of the CFP. What are your thoughts on this whole matter?
Okay, you're looking at a 3-loss Bama?
Yes, it would be a 3-loss Bama.
So rather than the Tide fans taking the loss in the SEC championship to heart as the thing that got you up out of the paint, let's look at the entirety of the resume as we ask every other fan base to do, right? Make sure that you take into account that you lost to Oklahoma at crib. You lost to Florida State on the road in week 1. I'm not saying that that is the end-all, be-all factor, and no, we are not determining you we are not judging you at your worst moment, but this is a holistic resume that we are looking at if we are a committee, and for that reason, I would slide you right on down up out of that top, not just 10, but top 12, it feels like, so that you're not even looking at an at-large bid at that point. It's again, you have to take things in totality. And again, putting my bias aside on this one, because I would say the same thing about any logo that had this exact scenario placed upon their shoulders. Because I do like how the Tide team is equipped. They have athletes all over the field. But when you look at the resume, 3 losses in its entirety is the thing that does you in, not just a loss in the SEC.
And that's what the committee's supposed to do, total body of work. And that's almost a very similar argument to Texas. People are like, well, why should they have incentive to go play and lose to Ohio State early? That's not the loss people are worried about. It's the loss to Florida.
That's right.
Alabama's loss to Florida State is the worst of any of those top 12 teams right now that could potentially be in the college football playoff. But for the Tide, if you win and you beat Georgia this weekend again,
ain't no question.
Doesn't matter.
Go on, do it.
Ain't no question. All right, it's time to make a game pick. Gonna put you on the spot, Trev.
Dogs get some get back. I'm going to keep it simple, right? They run the ball, they find a way to get stops on third down early, and they find a way to just make sure that the motivation, to your point earlier, does get them over the hump. So give me the Dogs to win it in ATL.
I'm going to double down on the Dogs, baby. You know, I think at some point the Tide, no pun intended, has to change. And we keep talking about chaos. Why not throw more in there and see some more fan bases complain on Sunday?
Who's that coming down the track? Me, Machine, and Red and Black. Turn me up, baby. Come on now, Dogs. Go ahead and get you an SEC championship.
Gonna be so much fun to watch this weekend. So many conference championships.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you.